we do have to get to something that Ken and Anthony were talking about this morning. It wasn't just this morning they talked about it. They also had talked about it yesterday morning a little bit. And I've listened to the Monday morning conversation about it. And I sat there and I was like, I don't necessarily think I agree with this. And then they had, went back and briefly talked about it today. And it feels like, again, there's a definite thought here that I agree with part of what they're going to lay out here that they lay out this morning. But there's also just the basically bare bones of this, the big picture idea that I don't know I do fully agree with. Let's take a listen to Ken and Anthony from this morning.
All these people, they want Shedeur to blossom, but they also want Kevin fired. And my thought is, if you fire Kevin, he's gone. He's gone. And that might be what you want in the beginning, but fine. You might just want him away from the Browns.
Yeah, who would, other than Deion Sanders as the next head coach, can you tell me a coach who would come into Cleveland and have an open mind about Shedeur?
I don't think they would. I think they would just move on.
You know what the fan base is going to call them the minute things go south. They're all seeing Kevin Stefanski's integrity has been impugned.
They're going to blame him
because of this.
And I think I cannot find, there's some good things in there, but I'm not finding the people are saying that this is a transcendent quarterback. And if they can't say that he's a transcendent quarterback, then to anybody who's new coming in, and they're going to throw their trust into whoever's new here. That's what the ownership is going to do. They're not going to want to risk anything with him. So they're going to move on. That's what they're going to do. So you guys can hate Kevin all you want, and Kevin's made some serious mistakes. Sunday was abysmal, but they need each other.
So I think the last part there is what I fundamentally disagree with. I don't think that Kevin and Shedeur do need each other in order to find any level of success here. Now, I don't know how attractive that job's going to be if you go, hey, look, we got some faith in this fifth-round quarterback we just drafted. We want you to take it over, and we're not going to draft a new quarterback for you, but we basically want you to run and develop this guy and treat him as if, though, he's going to be the answer this year. And then if that doesn't work, we'll draft you a quarterback going into the following season. I don't know how attractive that job looks, but at the same time, there's 32 NFL job openings at head coach. I think a lot of guys are willing to do that. And sure, there's not many people sitting here calling Shedeur Sanders a transcendent player. He's played 2 games in a system where he just hasn't been asked to do that much. Like we all see, and Ken mentioned that there are good things being said about him, from respected people in the industry, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, none of us have seen a transcendent player when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. Not yet, at least. And maybe at the college level you saw it, but I think in the NFL, you're obviously still missing that aspect of it. I think he's played fine the last 2 weeks, but it hasn't been incredible. But there's flashes of things that you like. There's looking around and thinking, all right, well, he's running the offense at a decent clip. I don't think it looks god-awful while he's actually given an opportunity to succeed. It's not incredible. He looks like a rookie quarterback that's making mistakes on a not-so-good offense. I just don't think him and Kevin are necessarily tied together for a ton of reasons, nor do I even think that might be Shedeur's best opportunity to succeed. Obviously, he plays well this year. Kevin recognizes that, moves forward at the quarterback. It is the most simple and surefire way that Shedeur does have a job. Like, it is the number one pathway to Shedeur going, here's your chance, you capitalized on your chance, and you're going to continue to get a chance. But I don't think that they're directly tied to one another, and I don't think they need each other. All it takes for Shedeur Sanders to continue to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns going into 2026 is for Andrew Berry to have a job, or Jimmy Haslam basically take the reins on this thing and go, I want to move forward with Shedeur. Whoever we bring in here, whoever's going to be here, is going to move forward with Shedeur. That's the bottom line. And that's the guy that we're going to play. Like, we've seen enough that we like it and we want to see more of it, and we need him to continue to play football. That doesn't necessarily lie on Kevin Stefanski having to be there. I think Shedeur's a polarizing enough character that there are going to be definitely coaches in the NFL that like him. But, like, we're sitting under the same idea, and if we go under the idea that Kevin Stefanski liked Dylan Gabriel more to begin with, which I think is, undoubtedly true, one, that doesn't leave great room for Shedeur. I would think that Kevin's probably waiting at most moments there to turn back to Dylan when things look better and almost, in a way, try to prove himself right once again, but just resting on what his evaluation was and who he thinks the better quarterback is. So I don't even think that necessarily pans out well for you. But you're telling me that of all of the teams that went through, looked at this, all of the former coaches and current coaches who have never named Shedeur a transcendent player, but most of the times don't say negative things about Shedeur, and it's not like they're sidestepping, trying not to say negative things about Shedeur. They're just, baseline complimentary. You're telling me there's not a coach out there, a solid coach out there that would be willing to take on that, if you want to call it a project, but take on that quarterback and move forward with that defense behind you? Like, is there going to be criticism that comes your way? Yes. Now, would leave you to think that you probably have to go get a coach that can handle that criticism. I don't think Kevin actually, in most cases, lets the outside noise get to him all that much. I don't think he responds almost at all to most of it. Maybe internally it gets to him. Maybe internally in the building it gets to this team. But certainly on the outside, when Kevin's speaking to the media, doesn't pay any attention to what anybody's saying about Shedeur and the fact that he's made, Kevin has made him look bad and this is all on Kevin. Hasn't planned out that way. But you need a head coach that basically doesn't give a bleep. Right? Like, you need a guy who goes out there and doesn't care what the media thinks and if they like him or not. And you say it's the fan base. I don't really look at this and go, well, the fan base is going to turn against whoever the head coach is if Shedeur doesn't work. It's the Shedeur fan base, which are going to turn on anybody when it doesn't work in the way that they want it to. But I just don't see how these two, in the pure level of success, are tied together. I feel like Shedeur's best opportunity is just to have the belief in the backing of one or both of Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam, and to go, okay, you get the reins. You get the job. Kevin's here. Kevin's not here. Doesn't matter. We're moving forward this season with Shedeur. We're not drafting a quarterback. We're not going to bring another guy into this room. You have the option to play Shedeur, or, well, you basically don't have another option. That's what we're going to move forward with. Like, Dylan will be there as your backup, but if you walk into this year, make it a quarterback competition and start Dylan, we're going to have a problem. It is a very simple pathway. You just have to see Shedeur do his part, I think, in these first couple of weeks, in these last few weeks that you have in the season. Shedeur just has to go through and continue to show flashes, and probably show more flashes to win over Andrew Berry and to win over Jimmy Haslam, to stop them from drafting a quarterback in the first round next year if Andrew were to be here, and I would expect that he is. I just don't see how Kevin plays into that. Again, easiest scenario, yes, but only scenario I don't think at all. In a lot of ways, we saw, Shedeur did stick up for Kevin this week when, I want to say it was Scott Petrak that asked the question, basically about the fourth down call, and said he wasn't going to point fingers, wasn't going to say anything bad about a coach. Okay, you a little bit came to the defense of Stefanski. I think in a lot of ways that's just not the way Shedeur operates, where he's going to go against what his coach says openly to the media. Certainly not. But in a lot of ways, we haven't seen Shedeur rant and rave about Stefanski. I'm sure he didn't love the fact that Dylan Gabriel was the starting quarterback over him. I don't think there's many quarterbacks you would find that would be very comfortable with another quarterback being over them who's a fellow rookie who I'm sure they feel that they're better than. But the fact that Kevin's here, it doesn't make a difference to me. It all relies on Andrew Berry and his thoughts. And it all relies on who's going to be here and what the plan that they want to move forward with is. I think Kevin would be looking to turn to Dylan Gabriel at almost any chance he gets. I think Kevin would be dying for them to take another quarterback in the first round, probably rather than turn back to Shedeur. Not because he doesn't like Shedeur, he hasn't tried to set him up for success. I'm completely out on the idea that the Browns or anybody in that building is actively or has tried to sabotage him in any way. But I think Kevin likes a certain type of quarterback. He feels that he has, at least partially that quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. And if not, would probably like to retry to find that type of quarterback in the draft next year. I mean, it was shown in the reluctancy to move to Shedeur in the first place. I just don't think those two are tied together. 216-474-0092. Are Shedeur's chances shot if Kevin Stefanski isn't back next year? Let's go out to the phone. Scott is in Cleveland Heights. What's going on, Scott?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, appreciate it. What do you got, man?
If you guys have ever watched Family Guy, there's a episode where Peter Griffin gets a chance to get a mystery box or a boat. And he says, hey, a boat's a boat, but the mystery box can be anything. It could even be a boat.
Yep.
My question is if another NFL head coach had Kevin Stefanski's resume, would that be a coach that the Browns would pursue? My thought is, if you've got someone that has done good in the past with this team, is it worth sticking it and finding some of that past magic? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, Scott, appreciate you making it. And I think that's a conversation that's probably, I don't want to say happening internally, but maybe internally inside their own heads right now. Is a conversation of, is it worth to move on from Kevin after this year? I mean, I think you would look at it. And again, I always say that head coaches kind of run their course in a way. Like, you're there for a time. If you implied the exact same thinking that you're going at right now, the Patriots should have looked at it and go, well, of course we wouldn't fire Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's won 6 Super Bowls with us. Right? He's been an effective coach as recent as, by the time they fired him, what was that, 3 or 4 years ago? And he had been winning and had been in a spot that had made this team continue to look competitive. With Tom Brady, he was doing great. No, but of course the Patriots still move on from Bill Belichick because he wasn't getting the job done then. It's the same thing with Kevin right now, obviously minus the multiple decades of seasons and Super Bowl titles. But if you just look at it and go, well, he's been good with us now, what's to say he can't be good with us into the future? I don't think that's like the ultimate solve either. Like, you do have to look at things and try to make improvements where it makes sense. I think the Browns are attempting to make those or they should be attempting to make those improvements and looking into what's available to you. But again, like, the idea that it has to be Kevin and it has to be Shedeur because they're here together now and Shedeur is a 5th-round pick, it takes nothing else other than your owner and or your GM to be fully invested in your success and to see it work out that way for Shedeur to get another chance. It's the only thing that it takes for you to actually climb back and go down that route and to re-up on what this is, and what it's going to be next year. If you're going to have a job, you just need Andrew Berry to believe in you.